Hello and welcome back to another video. So of course, as the title says, today we're going to be going over the top 5 Fivem servers in 2025. Now of course, with the new year, I figured I'd make a new top 5 video kind of going over some of the best servers you guys might want to check out, ones I've personally played on, a couple that I haven't and I've just watched some content on and spent a little bit of research on them trying to figure them out for you guys, give my recommendations on which ones you might want to join for different kinds of RP, as well as mention a couple other honorable mentions at the end of this video for some other kinds of servers that people might be into. So again, today's video is not going to be in any list of best to worst. It's just going to be the top 5 in my opinion at the current time of making this video for both quality, scripts, fun, and community, as well as a server just being a decent server without having any dumb pay to win features, etc, etc. So I'm not going to waste too much time on this intro. If you guys want to check out the different servers mentioned, they're going to be both in the timestamps in the description, or you can hover over the timeline of this video to check out the different servers mentioned and the reasons that I have mentioned them. And of course, as always, all server links will be in the description as the first 5 or 6, 7 links, so make sure to go check them out if you want to check out more of any of these servers or possibly join them on your own. But without further ado, let's get started at number 5 with EchoRP. Alright, so first server, of course, being mentioned is one that I actually did a little bit of a short series on, but honestly really enjoyed my time over on EchoRP. There is a ton of features, both criminal and civilian, from tons of different heists, as well as plenty of civilian jobs to get you up and going, as well as ones that have quite in-depth content. Now on top of this, from my experience, as well as watching some other streams while I was working on this video, it still seems like the standard of RP on EchoRP is quite high, with a lot of people actually there to have fun, RP, and of course make some memories. Now something of course with Echo is they are, in my opinion, one of the longest running and most developed servers that I've seen recently that has constant updates going on all the time. They have constant events being run by both staff, players, and organizations alike, and of course they also have a ton of import vehicles and release new waves every couple of weeks. So if you're looking for some cool vehicles as well to check out, EchoRP might be where you want to go. There is again a ton of stuff that goes on this server. As I said earlier, they literally have updates pretty much every week or two, with constant new content being added, new vehicles, even new motorcycles, which you don't really see too many of these servers that do custom motorcycles. So just a small thing there, but cool to see. Tons of player owned businesses, and I believe they now have over 50,000 members, so definitely a huge server. They also have a player cap of about 350, with normally around 230 to I'd say 300 players on the server at any point. So the server is definitely super populated, but at the same time, you don't really have to pay for prio most of the time unless the server is having a super busy time. You can kind of just hop on the server whenever. So it's definitely one that I could recommend checking out. Of course, there is an application for it as it is a whitelisted server, but it's definitely worth spending a little bit of time on an application, getting in and checking what they have. They also have, again, tons of criminal jobs, as I said earlier, from heist for Fleeka or Polito, as well as boosting, which again, for some reason I haven't seen in too many servers recently, but boosting has always been one of my favorite activities, so nice to see it on Echo as well. Again, I'm gonna try and make this video kind of short and just give you guys brief descriptions of the servers and why I recommend them. I don't want to make this video too long and keep rambling on about the different servers, a million features in this. Again, if you want to check out some of the little bit of an outdated features, feel free to check out my EchoRP series, as well as there's tons of streamers and others out there to check out for Echo content. But I do recommend them if you're looking for a good server where it's not too hard to get into. They have great content, a pretty great economy in my opinion, good RP, tons of player owned businesses. Again, they really like to focus on the player owned businesses and allow opportunities for tons of players to create interesting environments as well as jobs for other players and again businesses as a whole. So if this is a place where you want to go, you either want to be a civilian, maybe run a restaurant or a store or something like that, or if you want to go on the criminal side, there's also tons of criminal things to do, as well as tons of gangs and great RPers to check out. So without further ado, I do recommend EchoRP as the server if you want to check one out. But let's move on to the next one. Again, trying to go through this a little fast, just give you guys a little gist of each server as well as why you might want to join it. But again, that's gonna be about it for EchoRP. Let's move on to the next one. And of course, the next server we're going to be talking about is Purple RP. Now, I played on Purple for, I believe, a couple weeks. Now, I only made a couple videos on them. All of them were pretty long if you do want to check them out and get an idea of the server, but I very much did enjoy my time there. There was just a couple problems with it, which I will talk about shortly. But to start off, Purple RP is an RP server with, I believe, an actual server cap of 200, but on Fivem it will show about 600. Now, they also have released a 1.0 version, I believe, a couple months ago that added a bunch of new features, and some of the features are something that I was missing when I played Purple RP. So when I played, of course, there's tons of stuff to do on the server. There's plenty of civilian jobs, and all of these civilian jobs and everything will actually have skill trees designated for them. So let's say you're fishing, you can upgrade to better stuff for your fishing, better perks, better rods, etc. Or if you're, let's say, mining, you can upgrade perks for that. There is skill trees for pretty much everything that you could think of, which is really cool, and I really do appreciate it, as it is like a very nice RPG feature. But in my opinion, there were not really any criminal things to do. Of course, you could kind of break into cars and do stuff like that, steal radios, etc. But that was about it. It seems since then they have added quite a bit to the criminal side of the server, including boosting, growing, as well as gang and drug turfs, which is also really cool. And I believe they hopefully plan to add some more stuff. And then I'm guessing there is also some small petty crime that you're able to get up to. But again, that was my main issue with Purple RP, was a lack of criminal activity. So it's nice to see them adding some of that back, as well as a variety of other features. Purple RP is definitely a very unique server, as I believe it has a whole custom framework different from any server I've seen, with a very clean UI and some really cool ideas that I really haven't seen on many servers. They have this thing called encounters, which is basically, I think they have over probably 150, 160 now, if not more than that, of these are basically where you go and you find an NPC, you talk to them, and they give you a quest. Now, the quest can be something as simple as go take out, this group of guys who owes us money, or it can be go find my dead chipmunk or my hopefully alive chicken somewhere in Sandy. There's definitely a lot of interesting different encounters to do, and honestly, I had some of my most fun times on Purple RP going and doing these quests with a couple people, as they can be really interactive and really fun. And of course, you get rewarded with money as well as skill points in the skill trees that I was telling you about earlier. So definitely a lot to do over on Purple RP. They have a super nice community there and a very well dedicated RPer community, as a lot of people are very much focused on the RP over at Purple. So I definitely can recommend Purple RP, as it has a variety of features, such again as those encounters, which are a ton of fun if you just want to spend, you could literally spend hours and hours and days on them, as there are a ton of different super cool and unique encounters to find and explore. So definitely can recommend Purple RP as a server. But that's going to be about it for Purple. Again, link will be in the description as always. Let's move on again to the next one. And with that next one being one of my personal favorites on this list, it's going to be ProdigyRP. Now, starting off, of course, ProdigyRP has both whitelisted and public servers, although I will say the whitelisted is very hard to get into unless you again have priority over, I'd say, $40 or $60. It is very expensive to try and get in, and almost every single day the server is completely full with a queue of over 100 to 200 players, so it is quite difficult to get into the allow listed server without any kind of high tier priority. But if you do get in, it is definitely worth it. They also have a player cap of about 250 players on their whitelisted and around 290 on the public server. Now, again, they did recently release their 2.0 quite a couple months ago, and I have a full series going over and playing on ProdigyRP 2.0. If you guys would like to check it out, it's about, I think, around 41 episodes at the time of this video recording. So if you want a more in-depth look, definitely recommend checking that out. Now, on top of this, ProdigyRP right now, again, in my opinion, is the content creator server to be on, as well as the server to be on for a high level of RP and a ton of fun as well. Again, as I had mentioned, they recently released their 2.0, and when they did release that, the majority, if not all, of the super popular NoPixel streamers, such as Lord Kabun, Rami, Shots, and a ton of other ones switched on over to ProdigyRP, and it seems that they've been their main server since, again, the release of 2.0. So if you want to kind of just play on a server with a bunch of those high tier streamers and have some interactions with them possibly, as well as just RP in general, definitely the server to be looking at the moment. Or if you're a content creator yourself looking to get onto a server that has tons of other content creators to have fun with, RP with, and of course create content and fun memories. Now, getting into their systems, there is, again, similar to Purple RP, a full in-depth skill system as well as classes. There are both civilian and criminal classes, and you can both gain XP in both of these for doing various activities and unlock new features, new perks for your character, as well as a plethora of other things. So definitely really cool system. I love the skill system in any server, so seeing it on ProdigyRP and as in-depth as it is with, I believe, again, I think 4 or 5, I believe 5 now criminal classes and 3 different classes in the civilian tree to go into. It's really cool to have some long-term progression for your character and kind of see your character develop and learn new stuff over time and be able to have access to new features. Now, on the civilian side, as I said before, there's full skill trees for tons of stuff. You see tons of businesses opening, selling both materials, there's tons of restaurants around, there's record labels, there's event companies that literally just host events. And again, something I did want to mention is the staff is very receptive to the player base on the server. They will literally make full sets just for concerts here and there that might not even see a ton of people, although a lot of these events do have 100 or 200 people show up at them. But again, super dedicated staff. I even know, shout out to one of the people, Harold, literally saw in my video just some stuff wrong with my house, went ahead and fixed it. Big shout out to Harold. He does a ton of really cool building stuff for ProdigyRP, and again, he's a great member of staff along with the rest of them. I haven't really had any issues with staff on Prodigy, and they have been overall very nice and very understanding of a lot of different scenarios that go on the server, and seem to have a good grasp of their server's community and try and accommodate that. On the criminal side, though, to move on a little bit, there is tons of features, both that you can kind of do as solo or with a couple friends, and then once you get into the gang system, there's a full custom gang app with tons of different missions for you to complete, in which your gang gets points, and the top 4 gangs, I believe now, as they're soon going to release some new features, are going to be rewarded with specialized rooms that they have control over for about a week or 2, and these rooms can range from anything to cleaning your money at a higher rate to maybe even getting some black market medications. There is definitely some really cool stuff to go along with the gang systems on the server, and really honestly gives you something to do every day and something to work towards. And again, there is tons of also petty crime, which you don't really see on a ton of servers, from anything to the normal house robberies to just breaking into cars, stealing radios, looking through people's glove boxes, hitting mailboxes. There's tons of just small petty crime that really gives you a fun time as just being a regular criminal or small time criminal on the server. And again, with a constantly full server and a very RP focused community, it's definitely one that you should check out if you got the money to, of course, pay for the prio, or maybe just go check out the public server and get a feel for it. But that's gonna be about it for Prodigy. Again, I do have a full around, I think at the time of this video, 41 episode long series kind of going over a bunch of stuff, as well as a bunch of experiences that we have if you want to check that out. But without further ado, that's about it for Prodigy. Again, highly recommended if you're looking to get into a server. And let's move on once again to the next one. Of course, it wouldn't be a top 5 list without mentioning, of course, NoPixel. Now, NoPixel, as most people have already known of it, has been kind of the most ever-present and kind of the titan of the GTA RP gaming space for the last 4 or 5 years. But recently, again, with the release of Prodigy 2.0, as well as a lot of the big streamers and content creators on NoPixel going over there has been quite a shakeup for NoPixel as a whole. Now, of course, NoPixel has both a whitelisted as well as 2 or 3 public servers, so if you guys do want to check them out, it's pretty easy to get into most of the public servers, and it doesn't seem like they're very full nowadays compared to how it used to be when all those big streamers streamers were over on NoPixel, creating content and of course advertising the server a ton. Now, NoPixel of course has been known by everyone for quite a long time as kind of being the forefront of RP as well as game development for the RP scene. Again, but with Prodigy coming in and taking a little bit of that spotlight over, NoPixel is definitely still a good place to check out. Again, the public servers now are pretty easy to get into if you want to get into one of those to kind of try it out and see how it feels. They have tons of features and tons of different progression paths for every single job, where as you progress up through them, you'll unlock new and exciting different jobs and new avenues to make money, and tons of course stuff on the criminal side and on the civilian side. Now, my main gripe with NoPixel, it is 100% the most grindy server I've ever done. You have to do literally hundreds and hundreds of hours of different activities to be able to max them out and get the most out of them. So there definitely is a steep learning curve for NoPixel in my opinion. They again have some of the best scripts around as they've been around for the longest, and I believe have one of the biggest development teams in the RP space. But in my opinion, they have fallen a little bit the last couple months or year or two, and have really been focusing on making their server just super grindy, in my opinion, to try and get people to stick around, and have been focusing way too much, in my opinion, on the features and scripts and not enough on the community. Of course, NoPixel is a super serious RP server, but within the last couple years, it seems to be more about making rules and scripts instead of making cool RP experiences. So don't get me wrong, there's still a ton of amazing RPers that play on NoPixel and some amazing RP content that is created on there, but again, the last couple months to a year or even a little bit more than that, it seems that they've been focusing way more on making an RPG server instead of making an RP server. But still a really cool server to check out. Now, something to keep in mind if you do want to play on NoPixel is that a couple months ago, I believe they did a little announcement saying that they were working on 5.0. And that kind of killed the drive for a lot of people, because why would you want to play on a server when you know any day they can announce 5.0 and boom, it's going to get wiped? So they kind of shot themselves in the foot, in my opinion, by doing that, as a lot of people don't want to be working on hundreds of hours of grind on a server like that when they know that, again, a wipe is right around the corner. So I do recommend checking it out if you want to have a little bit of a feel of it, maybe on the public server, maybe even trying to get into the whitelisted one. But please keep in mind that, again, they did announce a 5.0 and I'm not sure when that's coming out, so it may wipe anytime. We have absolutely no idea. But that's going to be about it for NoPixel. If you want to learn more about it, there are tons of people who have streams. There's millions of videos out there on the NoPixel server and the different things that go on there. But again, figured I'd have to include it in this list, as NoPixel is, and in my opinion will always be, one of the biggest RP servers out there. Now, the last server we're going to be talking about for these top 5 servers is one that's a little bit newer, and it's called Time2RP. Now, I wanted to just include this because I've seen it grow super fast in popularity since its release, and honestly, I've seen a bunch of our peers. I saw Rami over there, I saw a bunch of the CG people over on there for a little bit checking it out. I do know that Rated Epics, if any of you guys remember him from the old RP days, is actually back and RPing over on Time2RP. It seems like they have a wide range of features as well as different jobs to do, similar to most RP servers. Now, again, in my opinion, I don't have anything super special to say about Time2RP. I personally have not played there, but it seems like a pretty fun server. I believe it is whitelisted, and you can apply, of course, on their website if you want to join it. It does seem like a pretty high tier server. It seems like all the scripts are super clean, as well as most of the different jobs and criminal activities. But again, seems like a lot of people are trying it out, testing it out, seeing what the server has to offer, since it recently just grew to some popularity. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Time2RP or Time2Roleplay over the next couple of months. But figured I'd just mention this at the end here as the 5th server, as this is one of the new ones that I haven't really heard of. Most of the servers in this list I've either heard of for the last year, or they've been around for years and years and are very well known in the community. But Time2RP seems to be like a brand new one with a brand new community. So if you're looking for a server that really has been around for a little bit but is not like a long time server, and you're looking for a new place to check out, definitely can recommend Time2RP. Again, I'm sorry I don't have a ton of info, as it is a little bit of a newer server, but it seems like quite a fun server with a ton of good RPers on there. So can definitely also recommend Time2RP as the last server we talk about in this list. But with that, I do have two other servers I just wanted to quickly mention at the end of this video, just in case people are looking for some other kinds of servers that you really don't see too much on Fivem. These ones might be a little less popular or a little different, and I've put them obviously at the end of this for some various reasons, but that's gonna be about it for the top 5. Let's go into a couple honorable mentions. So the two servers that I wanted to highlight at the end of this video as some potential interesting ones are going to be High Life Roleplay along with District 10. Now let's start off, I guess, with High Life Roleplay. I've put the server in most of my lists throughout the last year or two, and it seems to again still be a really popular server, with them constantly being filled up with 400 player slots, which is also probably I think the highest player slots I've mentioned on this list. So there's definitely a lot of people around. There were some features that weren't exactly my favorite. If I remember correctly, I believe you have to have some sort of subscription to use some sort of cars and other stuff here and there that you just have to pay for IRL money with stuff, which is not my favorite, but I figured I'd mention High Life Roleplay as well. It has a huge community, has been around literally forever, and has always filled up with 400 people on the server, so tons of people. And if you're looking for a little bit more, I'd say chaotic RP experience with a ton of people in it, High Life might be one you want to check out. But again, just figured I'd mention that along with, of course, a District 10. Now District 10, to put it in the most simple terms, popular, seems to be a little bit of like a hype beast kind of server, more of a quote-unquote hood server if you want to put it into that kind of terms. It's not exactly, in my opinion, the most like serious RP. It's more of let's beef, I'll shoot you, you shoot me, etc, etc. Again, I could be completely wrong, but this is just from my experience seeing a bunch of stuff. It's a little bit more of a light RP server with a lot of people just kind of talking, blabbering on and doing this or that. But I did figure I'd mention District 10 as well, as a lot of people, I think I recently saw Kai Cenat play on it, as well as a couple other quite famous streamers. It doesn't seem to be, again, one of those like big RP dedicated fan bases, but it does seem like an interesting server if you're looking for more of a little chaotic, more south side centered server. Only big drawback I had with District 10 is I believe you can actually pay for unbans and get paid to even get unbanned if you got banned for cheating, which I completely hate. I think it's dumb, and that you can literally just get unbanned by paying a certain amount of money, which is quite high. Actually, let me see what it is real quick. Yeah, so if you want to get unbanned from the city, it's $500, and then if you want to get an anti-cheat unban, it's $100. I don't understand really how that works, but definitely a little bit of an interesting one, more of kind of one of those hypebeast servers that are kind of seem to be copy pasted from one another. But again, if you are looking for a little bit of a chaotic server, District 10 might be one you want to check out. They do have an allow list prio and a whitelist application, but figured I'd mention it on this list, as again, I've seen a lot of very popular streamers check it out. All right, but I think that's going to be about it for this video, going over the current top 5 RP servers for Fivem. Hopefully you guys did enjoy and possibly got a little bit of knowledge out of this video, and possibly want to try out one of these servers on your own and see how you like it. If you do, make sure to let me know in the comment section below. Also, when this video releases for at least a while, I'm going to be answering any questions in the comment section. So if you have any questions about any of these servers and you don't want to look it up yourself, feel free to ask and I'll do the research for you and make sure to reply to you guys as soon as possible. So again, that's gonna be about it for the video. If you guys have any questions again about any of these servers, feel free to ask. And as always, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like on this video, and if you want to, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.